Morning, guys. It's Dave here with from Military to Millionaire. I am here with Stuart Grazier. He is an active duty Navy officer who has also been on Bigger Pockets, the Money Show. So he is, like myself, still active duty and has figured out a lot of different ways actually to invest in real estate and mutual funds, and just done very well financially. And so we reached out on LinkedIn and decided we'd be really cool to have him on to talk to you guys and share how he did things right in a lot of ways, as opposed to how I did things wrong in a lot of ways. So, Stuart, saw you. Let's hear your story.
Hey, thanks, man. David, this is awesome. Appreciate you having me on, and it's great to connect. I love just, talking and connecting with other military folks that are in the investing in the real estate game. And we all start somewhere, and dude, I haven't done it all right. I promise you. There's been plenty of mistakes along my way, but maybe it's just dumb luck, or just keep on pushing until you end up making it. So that might be a part of the story as well. But anyways, man, I appreciate you having me.
Yeah, of course.
So I guess just a little bit of background about me. Kind of like you said, I'm still active duty. I've been in for about 16 and a half years now. And I've kind of been doing real estate, dabbling in different niches of real estate for about 10 to 11 years. I have made quite a few mistakes along the way, lost some money along the way, but have been successful in quite a few ways as well. I've owned rental properties. I've done private lending, done flipping, done mortgage notes, lease options, wholesaling. I've tried it all. I think the only thing I haven't tried yet is haven't really got into the commercial space, syndication space, but I think I'd like to down the road. It's a little scary to me, but I think down the road we'll get there. So so I started a website about 2 years ago called Military Investor Network, and that was kind of based off of me and another guy. Were stationed together in Naples, Italy, and we kind of found out that we both liked real estate, invested in real estate, and we were like, hey, let's just get together on a weekend. We'll grab some coffee and some donuts and talk real estate. And that led to inviting a couple more, and then we're like, hey, let's do a monthly event, and that led to 5 people at first, then 10 people, then 20, and got to be a pretty good event. And then that also led to, hey, let's turn this online, and let's see how many other people are doing it. Let's get some more discussions going. And so my wife and I created the website, and it's kind of grown for a couple of years now. And it's free for all military, free for veterans, spouses, and it's just a place to connect, teach each other, offer investment opportunities. The goal is really just to teach active duty about real estate investing.
Yeah, it's super cool. So on the syndication thing, I totally agree. I think that's like one of those, okay, once you're finally done with real estate and want to be done, if you have a friend you trust, here, take my investment and let me not do anything but receive the dividend. But it's scary. Even though I know some people, I'm like, I don't know. I got a buddy out here who's syndicated 14 or 1,500 units, and he's my age. And I'm like, that's killer, dude. Someday I'll, when you get to 3,000, I'll give you some money. And it's I don't know. He's got hundreds of units more than I do, or thousands of units more than I do, and it's iffy. I have been the passive investor on a few syndications. I'm investing with people that I truly trust and that I know really well, and I know that have been successful. Honestly, it's more scary for me to take on other people's money and do those big investments, and knowing that I owe a lot of money back to people. However, we have started to do that on kind of a smaller scale. We just started a business about 6 months ago doing turnkey investments, if you will. I don't really like the term of turnkey investments, but the idea behind it was
really offering more investment opportunities to like-minded folks like us, military guys who want to get their foot in the door, who want to buy, a single family rental property, to get, their feet wet into the investing space. And, so we offer that to military guys, and not just military. It could be veterans or really anybody who just wants to get into the investing space. So we're buying, rehabbing, putting renters and property management in place, and then selling, fully rehabbed, fully rented rental properties to people that are wanting to buy them. And we are taking money from investors, so we're borrowing money, but maybe like $50,000 instead of like $5 million. So so kind of a lot different there as far as getting into the syndication space.
Yeah, more affordable market. So kind of doing like a BRRRR strategy, and then instead of refinancing, you're helping out other guys get their feet wet in turnkey. So is that through the Military Investor Network, or do you have a separate website for that one?
So it is not through Military Investor Network. We do offer the properties on the website, but the company itself is called Storehouse 310 Ventures. And it is we're still so new at it that we haven't even had the chance to make a website yet. We don't even have a logo yet, but I guess that's a good thing, because our business has grown fully off of referrals and word of mouth. Awesome. Every single one of our buyers has come through referrals and word of mouth, or just people that we already knew within our network. And same with on the lending side, we're borrowing money. We're borrowing money from people that we know and that we trust, and they trust us, with the money. So we'll get there. We'll probably make a website, and my wife has been working on a logo for a while, but we haven't really needed to so far.
Yeah, I mean, if you're doing it all with that much, that low of an overhead, why justify spending the additional expenses when it's working? And then you have proof source for when you do, scale. It's easy to say like, hey, we've got these 15 happy customers, rather than jumping the gun and, posting the ad on Facebook that says like the billionaire real estate mogul coach guy who, anyway.
Yeah.
The guru, that dreaded word.
Right.
Yeah, that's super cool. So, and then listening to your podcast, so I know you, it sounds like you did some similar things like I did way early on, as far as vehicles and toys. And then you, Financial Peace University, right? And you went through the Dave Ramsey and then kind of came through. So I think you kind of coach that now, right?
I do. Yeah. And, there are some things that I don't completely 100% agree with, as far as, what Dave Ramsey talks about, and more so just on like using leverage and using good debt for real estate investing. But, if you're kind of talking to, a young, E1, E2, I think it's super powerful to just really understand, finance in general, and creating a budget and knowing where your money is going, have an idea and put your money to work, instead of just, frivolously just spending whatever you want on beer and on super expensive cars. And, if you can get an 18, 19-year-old
buy envelopes of
there you go.
So that's my new budget.
Nice. I just think it's super powerful to teach, an 18, 19-year-old about how to handle their money, because it's not really taught anywhere.
Yeah. So I have like my whole website's about, like the military service member, working class, like real estate investing. But as I've like progressed with that, it's become more about like finance and real estate investing, because I'm learning as I'm talking to people, as more and more people are reaching out, and we're starting to have these discussions. Like, having the money to invest is always the biggest question. And, you start talking about seller financing, and there's all these ways. I mean, I've somehow managed to never pay more than 6% down on a house or property. And that's including 2 commercial units. So I've managed to finagle my way into some awesome amounts of leverage. That being said, these people, that's a great concept if you have money set aside to, cover the negative. I just got an email saying that one of my tenants is not going to be one of my tenants. And that's a fairly large lease that commercial lease that I just lost. And I'm like, well, that's going to hurt. But we can survive that. So, getting the finances in order. And I realized that that's not something anyone's ever really taught. I mean, we talk about like at entry-level recruit training, they say like, hey, get a TSP. That's it. It's like, I remember, my money sat in the G fund for like 6 years before someone told me you're an idiot. And I never increased my allotment by I think it was like 5% normal. And here I am, I've been deployed and I could have maxed it out if I'd maxed it out for the first 4 years and had it all in the C fund or the life cycle fund, like I could stop contributing now and I would have enough in there to retire and I could put all of that into investments. Instead, I'm trying to play catch up because I thought I was doing good with my budget. I wasn't terrible, but I definitely wasn't what I should be. Way too many tattoos. And I think I actually did a survey the other day. I think booze was the number one regret that service members have in their first 4 terms. And I definitely fell prey to that living in Japan. I don't know where my money went, and I'm sure that's it. So that supplements and a Harley that I totaled. I think I agree. Financial Peace University, that's super cool because it's a great platform to get you out of debt and set yourself up. And then I think I'm on the same page as far as leverage. I don't have money to buy a house in cash. So. Yeah,
no, we talked about it a lot on the Bigger Pockets Money podcast, and Mindy Jensen brought up kind of a good point. Is she's like, Dave Ramsey is a great tool to get from a negative net worth to a zero net worth, and then getting from a zero net worth to a really high net worth. That's kind of a different strategy, and that's where teaching that 18, 19-year-old about just kind of straight up budgeting, knowing where your money's going, and getting out of that negative net worth. It's a super solid starting point. And then once you get past that zero net worth, trying to get into increasing your wealth, I think you need to start looking at more like the Robert Kiyosaki type of thinking. And that's where that book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, as cliche as it is, just the mindset there is so powerful. And teaching guys at such a younger age, that mindset is huge.
I always hold that book up because everybody and their mother has said that's the book. But I realized that it's gotten to the point where that book's never in my house because the moment it's in my hand, I'm like, here you go. Read this.
Absolutely.
It's a mindset thing. And I think that's what Dave Ramsey gets right, is the fact that because I disagree on some of how you pay back debt, but that's because I'm a very numbers oriented, emotionless jerk of a Marine. I say emotionless. That's obviously not true, but I'm pretty good at saying no, this is what's going to happen. But for, that's in return, in terms of the high interest pay down first vice, the smallest debt. But the reality is that most people need those wins. And so he does a good job of understanding how people work. And I think that's what he got right. And that's why he's so successful at helping people. So
yeah, man, agree.
Emotions play a big part. All right. So if an E1, E2, or somebody walked up to you and asked you for your advice, and you only had a few minutes, right? What would you tell them about finance? We might have covered that already in the.
Yeah, we've kind of been talking about it. Don't spend your money on dumb stuff. If it's a quick, quick point, create a budget, know where your money is going, and put your money to work. And I would tell them to read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, to kind of start getting that mindset. And then once they're finished there, I would probably tell them to read that book, Set for Life, from Scott Trench. It's a Bigger Pockets book, but just the idea of, again, decreasing your expenses, minimizing your big 3 living expenses, to be able to start saving money and have that money to start investing. I think that's just super solid advice.
Yeah. Set for Life is actually also lent out right now. Those are probably the first 2 books that I will hand anybody. I say that I just ordered Brandon and Josh's new Start Here real estate book.
Okay.
because I realized that those are both great mindset books, but as far as like helping someone with real estate, they're more finance oriented. Except for Life Talks Real Estate some. So hopefully that book is as good a guide as they say, and I can start handing that one out too. Is like, oh, your finances are in order. Here, read this. But we shall see.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, getting your finances order. And the funny thing is, and you being military, you understand this, and like there's really, I can't think of a better place to start financially as far as coming out of high school. And people get so wrapped around this we don't make enough money mindset in the military, and it's totally self-inflicted, because the reality is, like, my first 4 years I bought like a truck that currently sits at my in-laws, like 3 cars that are gone, a race car that I finally just sold, a Harley I totaled, a gun I can't take to any of my duty stations, a bunch of other guns, a bunch of tattoos that don't bring me any money because I'm not a model. And it's like all these things that I blew all this money on. And if I'd been smart enough to like max my TSP and put even 5% away in savings for that first 4 year, and then put all my money away when I was deployed, I mean, I don't know. Yeah. It's scary to think how much money I would have been able to leave after 4 years with. You're not going to find a job with full benefits and paid vacation. And I mean, yeah, it's my 2 cents.
So don't spend money on dumb stuff. There you go.
Expenses. Yeah, absolutely. So I asked this one, and I know that it is, so let me preface, because almost everyone says, I don't think it's the job of the military. So I understand this is not the military's job. However, they do a very good job of teaching us like everything else about life. And I found that the financial advice is although good, and I'm a command financial specialist now, but it comes too little too late. I think it's great information, but it's not as early on as it should be. So what do you think or wish the military had taught you about finances or investing at an earlier age, if there's any?
Yeah. I think kind of going back to the Robert Kiyosaki deal, if you look at that the cash flow quadrant, if you will, you have the four different workers. You have the employee, the self-employed, the business owner, and then the investor. And if I'd have really kind of grasped those concepts a lot earlier on in my career, of the idea of moving out of that left-hand side of the quadrant from an employee or self-employed, and trying to move over to the business owner and investor. Really, we want to be in that bottom fourth quadrant of an investor, and the idea of passive income, and how you can have passive income and be an investor or a business owner, all while still being active duty military. If I'd have kind of just grasped that concept a lot earlier on in my military career, I think I would be at a way different level than I am now. Just that power of the passive income and using your money to create more money.
Yeah, it's nuts to think. I mean, and then you got tax benefits, and we as the military are already in incredibly low tax brackets for what we bring in. That's another point people don't seem to understand, is that only like this much of your income's actually taxed. But then if you factor in like real estate and things, and you make that even smaller, I mean, you're not going to get into a lower tax bracket, I don't think, than being military, unless you're someone who's got like a CPA working hand in hand to really plan out your taxes. You can do pretty well. Passive income's huge. And yeah, even small amounts. I mean, if you think about, that the TSP, I was earning 1 or 2% for like 7 years. Had I put that in an account that earned 10%, it would have doubled in that time. Instead, it went up like $50. So,
right.
And that's would have been doing literally nothing other than one time going on a website and clicking change the allocation.
Yeah.
Great. I'd have twice as much cash right now in my retirement account.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, I think it's incredibly powerful that you can have a steady paycheck the 1st and the 15th of every month. And if you're smart about it, you can still, get into that business owner and investor, side of the quadrant, all while still being an employee through the military and having all the benefits of active duty. So you kind of get the best of like all worlds. You know what I mean?
Wait,
Uh,
you can do things outside of the military on your free time, like run a business?
Crazy, right?
Oh
Yeah.
man. I think we
So,
are to some people. I would definitely say crazy is the right word to describe those nut jobs of us who think waking up at 4 a.m. to work on side things is normal. In fact, even in the Marine Corps, all my friends think I'm psychotic, and they make fun of me when I'm not up at midnight when they're texting about stuff, and then I'm up at 4. Like, why are you guys still in bed, bums?
right.
So yeah, but it definitely can be done. And I think that's, I mean, proof source that you've got a business going on the side right now as a, 16-year veteran commissioned officer in the Navy. And that's awesome. So,
Yeah, man. Yeah.
so, and you've mentioned a million different things, but I like to ask this question. So what makes the am I saying it right? Grazier?
Yeah. You
Okay,
got it.
cool. So then what makes the Stuart Grazier method of investing in real estate or whatever successful and unique or unique?
Yeah, I don't know if there's anything really unique about what I'm doing. I mean, honestly, like it's a copy and paste, right? I mean, and that's another beautiful thing about it is you find techniques from people that have done it who you want to emulate, and then you just follow their path. Now, I've absolutely made some mistakes, and I've absolutely, I've jumped in head first on some things where I probably should have kind of taken a step back and thought about it more. But I think at least I took some action, which is a lot more than quite a few people will ever do. I think as far as success goes, two things. I think one is really just being absolutely passionate about it, and there's been some obstacles along the way, but have never given up. I've failed and I've learned from those failures, and I picked myself back up and kept on going. So I think that's one part of it, that you just have to continue pushing through when stuff, gets challenging and gets in the way. I think the other one is really just having that network and that tribe, if you will, of people to invest with, invest in, and then include that tribe in your investing. I've found that over the last 10, 11 years, anything where I invested kind of outside of my network or just kind of randomly decided to jump into, it hasn't worked out the way I wanted it to. And now looking at the businesses I've created recently, it's with people that I've had in my network for a long time, people that I love and trust. Our turnkey business in Wisconsin, it's me and my absolute best friend, my college roommate for 4 years. We're like brothers, and we talk every single day, and it is fun. And it is successful because of the network that we've created and the team that we've built. So I think it's a huge part of success.
Yeah, that's super cool. And I would agree on most of that. I mean, taking action, networking. When people ask me, I always say learn, network, and then go do it. Like it's all that all of us who have made it work. I don't know why I keep doing the quotes in the screen. I'm going to annoy myself. So I'm going to tell myself that I'm going to edit that out, and then it's going to make it on YouTube, and we're going to laugh at me for not editing it out. But
hey, just being real, dude. Just being real.
So yeah, the modeling successful people in businesses, and that's something that has not been said to my knowledge yet. I should probably memorize all my chats so that I remember if it's been said, but I don't think that's been said. That's huge, because that's the reality is and that's why we say read a book, right? Somebody has done something. It may not be the same thing, right? There's always that one trendsetter, but somebody's done something, right? And it's very similar to whatever you want to do. And if you follow their model, and especially in a business like real estate, where you're not competing with other people, you're in competition with yourself, trying to be as successful as you can be. And the cool thing is that all these guys that we look up to, you think of, I don't want to push the bigger pockets thing too much, but I'm a huge fan. Every single one of them, if you get one-on-one with them or email or whatever, they're all willing to help you in any way. They're like the coolest group of people in the world as far as like, hey, I saw you did X. How did you do that? Oh, here you go. Oh, this is more information than I know what to do with it. And people get overwhelmed there and then they don't go do it. But asking the questions and networking and being around people that have done stuff like that, all you got to do is, be a decent enough person that people are willing to help you, and then ask the right questions. It's amazing what'll happen.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's not hard. It's not rocket science. Find a mentor, find someone who's been doing it, and just, do what they're doing.
I mean, the running joke as a Marine is that I spend more time trying to not eat the crayons than actually designing things. So if I can figure it out, someone else can probably do it.
There you go.
Have you read The Obstacle Is the Way?
I haven't.
Oh, you should. Since you mentioned in your thing about obstacles, he wrote, Ryan Holiday, I believe. He wrote Ego is the Enemy as well.
Okay.
It's a stoicism type book, but it's pretty cool as far as like the mindset of how to go around obstacles rather than letting them stop you or whatever. Pretty solid book. So
okay, I'll check it out.
On that note, I guess we've already mentioned several books, but so I normally ask, what is the one resource, book, course, whatever, that you would recommend? So I say that, can we avoid the three that we've already talked about? You got any other solid recommendations?
So this is going to be a little bit of a plug, not for me, but from people in my network, from friends of mine. They actually just came out with a book. I'm going to put it up right here. It's called Military House Hacking.
I've been meaning to hunt that down.
And it's from some Marines and some Navy guys. They have a company called Active Duty Passive Income. So it's activedutypassiveincome.com. And, they're friends of mine. And they have a great platform to teach people about, just doing real estate investing. And they just published this book. I think it's out for like a week now. And I ordered it, and it's such a solid, strong strategy to do the military house hacking. Using your VA loan benefit, buying a house, and if you're single, you should be renting out every single other room in that house. Or if you have a family with kids, maybe get a duplex or a triplex and rent out the other units. So you're not, you're at least sharing walls, not sharing space. But super solid strategy. It's a short book. I highly recommend getting. I think it's like $3 on Amazon. So check it out.
I meant to order that the other day and check it out. And since we mentioned the house hack, I know your first house was a house hack with renters in a very expensive area. My first house was a duplex that I didn't use a VA loan because my knucklehead of a lender didn't talk me out of it and didn't understand it. And I kick myself every day because I'm paying principal, PMI, mortgage insurance, for those of you who don't know. But yeah, I totally agree. I'm like itching to leave Hawaii, not because I want to leave Hawaii. It's amazing, but because I can afford a VA, fourplex or whatever, basically anywhere else I get stationed. But
yeah,
I was at a triplex yesterday, an open house, trying to help a buddy out as agent, and like $1.59 million home. And it's like a triplex that, honestly, it was a killer price point for the building. But, even then it's like, well, if I bought this in cash, I might make like $500 a month in cash flow. And then I'm like, if I bought a $1.5 million apartment complex in Missouri, I'd make like $10,000 cash flow.
Right. So, Right. Yeah. There are definitely some markets where it's probably still not viable to do. But, it depends. Again, though, it depends on your situation. If you're like a National Guard guy or a reservist and you're never leaving, if you're always going to be at, this unit in the military, and, example here, Denver, Colorado, where I am, similar, not Hawaii, but, a duplex or a triplex is going to cost you $800,000 to $1 million. And, but if you're never leaving and you're going to pay for a house anyways, and rent is probably going to be just as much as a mortgage on that, why not? Why not buy a duplex and, have a renter paying some of your mortgage if you're never leaving? So it's a super solid concept.
Yeah, the numbers, it's all about the numbers. In fact, there's a guy, I don't know if I'll ever get him on here because he said he's not much for the camera. But there's a guy out here we call it the Monster House. And he used his VA loan. He bought it's like 2 buildings, and it's basically a hotel. Like he has his VA loan. It's like this weird, somehow it's a home with now 6 Airbnb units built into the second building. And it's all automated. Like he's got someone who cleans it. He's got like key locks. You can log in online and like everything. This guy's just absolutely just blowing everyone out of the water as far as how much he's bringing in income on this thing. I don't know how he ever got it approved by a VA loan, but he did. And he's got this thing, and he's like, yeah, we're just going to retire out here now because this makes enough money for us to do that. And I'm like, holy crap. And that's, in Hawaii, where the houses are probably some of the most expensive in the country. So totally doable. It's just that rich dad, poor dad question, right? I can't do it, but how can I do it? Then it's insane.
Yeah, man. That's good stuff.
Good deal. So yeah, I'll check that book out. I guess before we wrap up, is there anything you'd like to add? Parting advice, big ideas?
I think I probably said everything that I wanted to say. I think the biggest thing is just like you talked about, just educating yourself and then getting out there and taking action. If it's just buying one house and doing the house hacking thing, that is way more than so many people will ever do. Or just creating a budget, figuring out where your money's going, start saving to put for a down payment for a single family rental property. That's way more than most Americans will ever do. And there's so many benefits that we have in the military. And I think if you don't take advantage of it, you're not giving yourself the justice that you deserve.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, Stuart, so normally I ask, where can people get a hold of you? But I'm going to go ahead and plug the Military Investor Network for you. And then I'm going to let you, wherever else you'd like them to find you, but definitely go check out the Military Investor Network, guys.
Yeah. Thanks, man. Just there. We have our Facebook page. We have the Instagram page. You can email me, Stuart at militaryinvestornetwork.com. That's STUART. And I try to reply as much as I can to anyone who ever has any questions. I love helping people, love talking real estate. And so if I can fit in, I definitely will. So I appreciate you.
Awesome. Well, Stuart, thank you again for taking some time out of your day to come chat. It's been swell. I look forward to staying in touch.
Yeah, man. Absolutely. Appreciate you having me.
Definitely.